So welcome back to Freedom to Learn podcast. My name is Guru Eleshwarapu. I'm the founder of Silicon Valley for You. So for those who are new to this podcast, subscribe to this channel. Also press on the like button so you get to see a lot of cool podcasts in the future. And also you get to see a lot of podcasts that we did in the past. And so this is a series of podcasts. So this is the first one we are doing with Raja Marhaba. And so today she's our guest, and she lives in Southern California, Los Angeles. And she has, she has a lot of initiatives. The main one is the Jonathan Foundation for Children with Learning Disabilities. She's the founder, and she's been with that for last 21 years. And so with that, I welcome Raja.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you today.
All right. So for those viewers who don't know about you, just why don't you tell about yourself and where you come from, what's your journey has been, as you know very well. And these podcasts are mainly for youth, the students who are in colleges and schools, and also the parents, obviously, because they care about those students. So with keeping them in mind, just talk about, your journey so far and what you're up to and what's your passion and everything.
My background, originally my heritage, I'm Palestinian, and we immigrated to New York in '69 and moved to California when I got married out here. And pretty much the journey's been going to school, getting educated, going to work, doing the 9 to 5, doing everything we're supposed to do that our parents tell us to do growing up. And then when I ended up in California, I ended up going into business with my ex-husband, now a contractor. So I have extensive entrepreneurship skills. I've learned a lot in 36 years in business. And you need to know a little bit about everything in business to stay in business, because if you don't know, then you get taken advantage by those individuals that are in business trying to sell you or feed you information that may not be appropriate. I'm not saying you need to be an expert in every area, but some knowledge base would be appropriate in the real world. And from there, just continue doing everything, ended up creating the Jonathan Foundation for Children with Learning Disabilities, because I have 2 sons with learning disabilities. They're considered twice exceptional and learning disabled, meaning they have an IQ over 145, but they're stuck in a learning gear. Jonathan has severe dyslexia, and Omar struggles with depression, written and vocabulary deficits. And when you have a student that is very, very smart, but can't seem to read or write accurately, but they know within themselves internally that they're smart, but externally, you don't see there's anything wrong with that student. There's a lot of internal struggles that goes on within the confinements of the brain. And so both my sons needed special education services from the school. They were denied. And I ended up initiating due process on both children against the school system, second largest school district in the nation, to obtain services. I'm not going to get into all of that because this is not what this interview is all about. But I just wanted to let the students out there know that if they do have an area of challenge in learning, that there's so many avenues, resources, and hope for them to get that. And for the parents that are listening to this, that it's okay, because there's hope. Both my sons are these days, they're 30 and 32, are extremely successful in their own business. Jonathan has a real estate business, and Omar Jr. works for an IT company. Never went to college, graduated high school. He was my Ninth Circuit federal court lawsuit, and he's a whiz. He's earning 6 digits in the technology industry, which is why your business was so intriguing to me when we first met.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate sharing all that information. Yeah, so this is just to add to what you're saying. Typically, my or this company's mission is also more or less same. There are a lot of people. There is one system of education, and a lot of people are being subjected to that, and and everybody's expected to get A plus and grades. It's just not going to happen, and so there will be B graders, there will be C graders. So message to them is, yes, there are tons of avenues, see things outside the box. And so that's the message for both the students and parents. However, for students, it's not easy to see outside the box because they are in the box in many cases. And especially, some of the interior places outside cities and then outside developed countries and some. So when they are in the box, how to show them that the world is much bigger than what you're thinking at this point of time is what Silicon Valley for You is all about, to a sort of giving them opportunity to see things beyond the scope of what they have. And I can speak for myself a little bit. Growing up in a small village in India, and so we were 20 students, and that's all I knew. And a lot of things I didn't know until I got to college. And when I got to the college, I knew only things that were, or that confined to that college campus. When I got out of college, and then, I started changing the world, and it took a while for me to understand. So I would have lost 7+ years of my life figuring out why am I doing all this, and where is it going, and how do you control my destiny? That's the point I'm trying to make. So I was following whatever the companies asked me to do. They decide my career, they decide my destiny. So by the time I got the control of what I want to do, I lost a lot of time. So anyway, that's the hope and the mission for our company. So with that said, right, we talked extensively about education system, in the context of your son you just talked about. um, so I always say that there's a huge gap between education system and the real world. And so I just wanted to see what's your take on that. And then, as you said earlier, how do you or what do you recommend student to do to mitigate the gap?
Um, I'll be honest with you. Jonathan and Omar, two very good examples, because Jonathan, the severely dyslexic child, ended up going to college and graduating with a 3.999 GPA, which was extremely difficult with a 5th grade reading level. Went through a lot of trials and tribulations to get through the system. Omar, who unfortunately was bullied by his 6th grade teacher in middle school, chose not to go to college, had no respect for authority because he was not treated right in the middle school. So, and he was always gifted in technology, and what you're doing is incredible. And I have a lot of interest in what you're doing because of what my family personally walked through and endured in the system. So Omar did not want to go to college, but he had this gift for technology, and nobody saw the gift that he had within himself. And so today he works for a company and he's doing really well. And I look at it this way: college is not for everyone. Jonathan went to college because he was in competition with himself to prove to himself that he can make college, when everybody told him in the school district that he will never graduate high school because he was so severely behind in reading. And he showed everybody wrong. And Omar, who nobody believed in him and nobody saw his true talent, gave up on him. And so I never gave up on both my children. I'm a fierce mom, so I'm going to go advocating for both of them and fight for them. And currently now I fight for other families and other children. And so I was very patient with Omar, and he wanted, when he was 14 years old, to build his own computer back a long time ago. And I trusted him. I gave him a budget. I said, you Google everything, you find everything, you put it together. And he did. I was like $1,000 back then. He bought all the material on Google, bought it, and he built a computer, a high-speed computer, within one day at 14 years old. And so that was an eye-opener for me, because I knew he had talent, but I did not know to what degree. And I knew there was something in him, but I did not know how to help him. And so I put him with a friend of mine that was in the technology business, and he went to work with this individual and ended up learning their program through the back door. So he never had any formal training. So he went and he Googled and he learned, and he did everything he needed to do. And he ended up getting hired and doing well. Going back to, if there's a passion that your students have, and if technology is their passion, and if, I'm not telling you that college is not good. It could be appropriate for some students, and it may not be for others. Everybody thinks differently, is wired differently, and have different skills to achieve whatever goal they want to achieve in life. So if computers is it, technology is it, gaming is it, like now you have coding, you do a lot of different types of coding programs. And I know that this is the new way we are living today in this world, and there is a huge opportunity for these students to do and reach, the stars if they want to. And it doesn't mean you limit yourself because you need to have a computer science degree, you need to have a college degree to get into that business. You don't. I met engineers in the technology industry, and I was, a bothered mom back then, worried about Omar. What am I going to do with Omar? He has no degree. And the guy straight out and told me, he goes, either you have the gift or you don't. If you have it within you and you can do it, you don't need a career, you don't need a degree to do it. Because a lot of the individuals that do graduate university, and like, this is respect for the universities, but this is real life. You want real life. A lot of them may graduate with a computer science degree, but they are not gifted the way my son may be gifted, or one of your students may be gifted, so that they can achieve that goal. And a lot of the students that don't go to get their degrees in computer science or whatever area in technology that they want to pursue, they feel like they're failures and this is it, and they don't think much of themselves because they think, oh, I need a degree to get a 6-digit. No, that's not true. Not in every case, and everybody is very different.
Yeah, so I guess I've been talking to one of our interns, and he just joined Amazon. So he said that he put it very nicely. He got a call from Amazon because he has a degree, but none of the courses from his college helped him to get through the interview. So he was working and he was doing interning with Silicon Valley for You, and the hands-on experience he learned allowed him to get into the job, but he got the call because he had a degree. Otherwise, Amazon probably wouldn't have called or not. So the other thing we always mention is that you learn by doing it. So for instance, there are two categories of students. Small percentage of students have clarity in what they want to do, or some kind of a gifted or inbuilt enthusiasm to do certain things, whereas a lot of people don't know what they want to do. In either case, if you pursue or keep doing certain things, that will give you opportunity to understand what works and what doesn't work for you. So tech and coding would help you to do that. And you don't have to be necessarily a software guy or tech guy. Once everything is said and done, you can still be whatever you want to be. However, for this generation of people, tech allows them to try it out, while you're still in the school, to see if it is indeed going to work out for you. So even if you want to be a pilot, so I was talking to another in the podcast. He's funny. He's jokingly saying that he just started his own startup. He was saying that, in order to run my startup, I wanted to pilot first. I wanted to learn how to be a pilot, so that you can always you understand how to juggle or how to keep the flight going. And so I was jokingly telling him that it should be other way around. You should do the company first, so that you can fly the aeroplane easily.
That's a good one. That's true.
So
True.
yeah, because there is always something unexpected. So these unexpected things, they always say that the format of the real world is unstructured. There is
That's true.
no structure to it. There is so, for instance, in the college, you fail, you pass, you B grade, C grade. There is a structure to it, and then if once you get there, there is a structure to and do what to do with it. In the real world, things come
There,
from left field, right? There is, you don't know. If you already know, then you don't have a problem. That's not a problem.
that's true. That's true. I graduated college and I was scouted by GE and ended up working in the financial department in GE. And everything I learned in college had nothing to do with my position in GE. And so, I mean, you go and you spend a whole lot of money to have a really good education, and you end up not working in where you need to work. And as far as real world, you know, you have a boss to report to, you have deadlines to meet, you have you better produce, you're going to get fired. You have warnings. There are certain, you have human resources. There's a lot of things in the real world that is not taught in college, is not taught in high school. And we're just told, like you said, pass these classes, get your ABC, whatever, get your GPA, and then off you go into the races. There are internships, but not everybody qualifies for all the internships. Not everybody is capable of doing all the internships. I think what you're doing and bringing into the school environment is so needed, because you're bringing real world experience into the school system, giving the students an opportunity to work on a real project for a company, a real company, not a fake company, so that they can have that experience where they have timelines to meet. They have to report to their superiors. They have to, maybe get good or bad criticism. I don't know, that, the spirit might say, I might not like what you're doing and I don't want it this way and I want it that way. Well, these students are going to learn that my boss isn't happy. It's not my teacher, it's not my mother, it's not my grade, it's my boss that I need to make happy if I want to keep my job and keep getting the income. So we don't know this when we're in college. We have an idea, but we haven't really lived it or experienced it. And if we work in the McDonald's or Starbucks, it's a different type of employment than when you work in an office and you're doing something. What you're doing is coding and being a team, and it's not production, right? In the fast food places, it's production. You make the hamburger, you cook the bread, whatever, you put it together, and there you go. It's not that way. You have more strategic, innovative thinking, more challenge way of thinking in the real world, in corporate, in the white collar world, which is what you're bringing to the table to these students. And the schools don't have this anymore. They used to have arts, they used to have mechanic shops, they used to have wood shop. They used to have computer classes. I don't even see computer classes anymore. And the computer classes that are existing are just keyboarding. Well, what's keyboarding? That really, it's very limited. So
Yeah.
I think what you're bringing to the table for these families and these students, and even the schools should be so happy to have a program like
Yeah.
yours in with it, because they get the credit that their students graduated with this degree, this honor, this certificate, whatever it is that comes from your program to them because of their school, and they allowed you to go into their school and teach their students and come, and then it's teamwork. It's creating a team environment. I was on a Zoom call this morning with a masterminding group that I belong to, and we were talking about teamwork and how to get remote workers into the office in hybrid type of situations. And it came down to when you Guru, you bring in these students into the classroom with a project and you teach them, they are not only learning real world experience, they're learning how to work as a team, how to communicate. You have different personalities in the business world. You're not going to like
Absolutely.
everybody you meet.
Yeah, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. So, in fact, I'm very passionate. I'm just want to do a separate podcast just about learning and so-called internship, the word that coined out there. So I'll give a brief opinion about, or the facts rather, about learning and internship. For instance, so internship, the definition today is, let's say I apply internship, let's say at IBM. So So, IBM says, okay, you did computer science, so come over here. And then this is the lab, go and do something. Or if you are a electronics person, you do this, whatever, some chip design or whatever. But how do you know that that's what you're good at? So I did computer science.
Mm.
So my college told me that I have to be a software guy. And
Mm.
then industry told me that's the only job I can give it to you because you have computer science degree. If I want to be a product manager or a business development person or a sales guy or manufacturer, whatever it may be, my interest is different. First, I don't know. Second, if I want to know, I have no chance because I don't have formal degree. I don't have MBA because or whatever you call it. So I don't have that degree or experience. I'm not going to have experience because I just got out of school and I don't have proper formal degree. And as a result, I ended up doing whatever they decided me to do. My college and industry, they combined together, said, this guy has to be a software guy, end of story. And then I spent a lot of time. I'm no longer doing software. A
Yeah.
lot of millions and millions of people I know of,
Yeah.
after a few years, they left software and they're doing business development, sales,
Mhm.
you name it, tons
Yep.
of other things outside of what they're supposed to do or outside of their degree. And so that is what I meant by internship. As a young guy, as a learner, you need to learn what internship works for you. The industry has to give them those opportunities, not just take them and make them do something. So that is the problem. I worked as an intern, okay, and I did the same thing. And then some software work after their first job, software, second job, software, third, and then they send me to US and they put me on mainframes. Why did I work on mainframes? Because they told me to do. So otherwise, I never decided to do it. And so the second is this whole learning thing, which is also very, it baffles me sometimes. My concept of learning is you need to connect with the mentor. So today in the industry, if I say I have a Stanford PhD, Andrew, our big name, and then he's going to teach machine learning, I'll tell you, tons of people sign up. Do you really think you need that guy? Or rather, can you connect with that guy? So I'll give you another example. If I want to start a coffee shop, I don't go and talk to the CEO of Starbucks. I'll talk to the local, coffee place guy and understand, what it takes to set up a coffee place, and I learn from him how supply chain management works at a small level. And then at some point, when I grow to a certain level, yes, I probably talk to Howard Schultz and then say, hey, I'm trying to scale this up. What do you think? Hopefully, he helps me. Otherwise, it is what it is. My point is, but today, if if I say, hey, supply chain management, Jeff Bezos is going to give you a orientation. Oh, whole world will show up at Zoomlink. And then if I, hey, if there is a small shop, the guy has, there has a supply, meets the demand. He understands supply chain management. That's the name. Probably nobody knows his name. Trust me, nobody should sign up. And the reason being, there is this thing that if I listen to Jeff Bezos, I can build Amazon or whatever, or at least some kind of a illusionary mindset, um, that I'm learning from the best. But yes, he is the best, no doubt about it. Are you able to connect with him? If you are not, you're not learning. It's
You're not.
about how much you are learning. It's not about how much he's teaching. He can teach whatever you want because he did this before. So, but you see, so many times I watch episodes or video content of big CEOs, including Jeff Bezos, how he started his business, all that. Do you really think that gives any clue whatsoever how to drive your traffic or drive your business towards some success, just like Amazon?
No.
Probably not. They
No.
they all look very interesting. I use the word They're very romantic stories. And however, and then when you get to do what he did, it just probably won't work for you. Whereas if I go and talk to a guy who I can connect with, and guy who is solving the problem as we speak, he's also seeing problem. He's also trying to figure out what to do, or he just figured it out, and he's growing. That is a tremendous value, in my opinion, because that you can quickly incorporate and also understand what he or she is talking about. So if Jeff Bezos says, "Oh, I understood, what to do," then I shifted to how to do. How in the world you're going to understand? I know I was watching that. How in the world you're going to understand what he's talking about? He's talking at extremely
Yeah,
abstract
high
level,
level. Mhm.
and the crazy level. And then so I was hiring people who were doing better than me. All these buzzwords I heard from a lot of people, and point I'm trying to make is that you can't implement them. If you really want to implement, talk to the guy who just solved the problem. Yeah.
You
So that's,
cannot,
yeah. Go
with
ahead.
that example, you cannot implement that. When I got into business and construction, I had no idea what books were, accounting were. I mean, I took accounting classes. I had no idea how to balance checking account, how what the financial statements mean, what the numbers mean. I had no idea what human resources was, bonding, insurance, the expenses, everything that goes along with a business. There was no one there to mentor me. There was no one there to hold my hand. I had to learn the hard way, and I had to fall and fail so many times to get up and stand up and do it again. So mentorship, if you're offering mentorship and an internship for these students, they are so blessed and lucky that they have somebody there to mentor them, for them to ask questions, for them to have a guidance, someone to hold their hand and show them. And when they fall, to teach them, why you failed. It's actually, we learn from our failures, right? We have to fail to succeed. It
Yeah.
sounds crazy, but if we don't fail, then we don't know. And you learn because you fail. If you never fail, then you never learn.
Yeah.
And so what a great opportunity it is for you to be that mentor, providing that internship, helping those students to have a skill and possibly get a career. Maybe they work for a big corporation, maybe they start their own company. You,
Absolutely.
you don't know
That's
where that's
why.
going to lead them.
Yeah, I mean, in fact, my goal is which we are already implementing. Tons of people you can see on our podcast. There are a lot of young people. They're already mentors. They're not only mentees, they're
Yeah,
also mentors, which is a
awesome.
great opportunity,
Yep.
which today's system doesn't allow them to do. So with that, let's switch gears and let's talk a little bit more about yourself. I know you have a lot of initiatives and part of a lot of forums in Los Angeles area, and also you're writing a book. Let's just talk about it, and then for those who wants to, who are you know people that are into reading, and hopefully they can pick up your book and learn more about life experiences.
No, I appreciate that. I belong to a lot of different forums because I don't know everything. And I belong to a lot of mastermind groups because I still don't know everything, and I don't want to be the smartest individual in the group. I need to learn from my peers, my constituents. Like I, I know a lot, but I don't know everything. And I'm always learning something new, even at my age. And so what I've gone through with the special education system since my sons were 5 years old to current, and they're 30 and 32, has been horrific. I was sued by one of the biggest school districts in the nation. And the experience was humbling, at the same time angry, and learned. And so I started the nonprofit, the Johnson Foundation for Children with Learning Disabilities, because I wanted to help families, and I did not want families to go through what I had gone through with the system, because I didn't know, 30 plus years ago, 25 years ago, I was a novice mom. I had no idea what's going on in the system and how it operates. So I've been writing a book for the past 10 years, and it was supposed to be my memoir. And when I met a publisher, she said to me, she ended up having a child with special needs. And she says, Raja, take out all the personnel and leave it strictly your journey in special education. There is not enough resources out there for these families. And your book could be a really good book to help these families access resources and access information on what to do for their children in the school system. So the book is called Unstoppable. And the subtitle is A Parent's Survival Guide of Special Education Services with IEPs or 504 plans. And it's my hope the book turns out to be your encyclopedia that you don't put down. It's not a book that you read and put on the shelf and forget about it. I'm hoping that the resources in there the parents will continually refer to, because the system has not changed in all the years I've been in it, and it's not going to change. And years ago, when I sued the system and I went to Ninth Circuit Federal Court, all the issues and the problems and the challenges that parents face now, I faced back then. So the system has not changed at all. So they're empowering the parents and teaching them what avenue to take and what the appropriate special education language is in these IEP meetings, giving them psychologists, assessors, attorneys, acronyms, helping them answer questions with whatever, if they have an IEP and they don't know what to do or they have a concern. The book is going to have in it, it's like an interactive book, if you will, resources and contact information that they can reach out to me and I will answer them. I'm hoping to grow it with a mastermind group for special education and empower parents at some point when I scale it, and do coaching and IEP advocacy. So it's not I don't want it to be a typical book that's read and placed on the shelf. I want it to be a book that is a constant reference book for a parent to help them get through the special education journey.
Yeah, amazing. It's a big, it's a noble cause, and also it's the whole special education became yeah, it's quite prevalent in the recent past. Maybe I wasn't paying attention when I was growing up. Maybe I didn't know what was going on, but I kind of noticed after I got to this country, and this is definitely need. In fact, we do have students, and we run only one-on-one classes with them. And I'm trying to get one of them to our podcast and see if he is interested in attending. But from what I've been told, that kid is amazing in tech, and he learned a lot of programming languages. And unfortunately, we are not able to involve him in a group setting to do projects. And so his parents are also, they want one-on-one sessions. So this is something that needs to be addressed, and I think a lot of initiatives are going on. I think this book is going to be, one of the manual, if not book, it's a manual for certain folks to deal with these situations. This is what I meant to say, that structured. These are all unpredictable, right? Things come
Sure.
from left foot, and I mean, I always say in a funny way, there is no subject called common sense. I wish there was a subject, and then so we go through it and pass the exam, and hey, I'm a gold medalist in common sense. There is no such thing. I wish there was a. We'll see. Hopefully with AI, probably that can be defined in the future. So if without it, and dealing with these is the challenge, and definitely not everybody's cut out for that. That's my take on this whole thing, is that just like we train them on tools, what I call them, what to learn. For instance, the example you gave, to run the business, you need to understand certain tools, certain ways of doing things. So what is the procedure? How do I incorporate my company area? There is a what. And then there is a how, which is not well defined in this world as part of the education system. So in other words, let's say I want to get this customer is, he said he was going to pick up my call. He didn't. So what do you do now? Should I just keep calling or just ignore and just wait for a few days, or just call next day? How do you do that? There is no subject for that.
Right.
And
True.
it's all relative. And some guys, if you keep calling, they'll never pick up your call once for all. They'll block you. And then if you just take it easy and you don't call, then that guy thinks you don't have enough fire in the belly. So how do you walk that line? And then, when somebody has done this before, we tend to follow their stories and themes and whatnot. Not necessarily they're going to work for you. So this is the point. It all comes down to your instinct, your experience, your ability to solve the problem. End of story.
Mhm.
And you are the world when it comes to that situation. No matter how much data you have, you can use those pointers and just to get a moral support in some cases. But at the end of the day, it is you who are going to deal with it. And so with that, so yeah, I know you talked a lot about Silicon Valley for you, and this is what we are trying to solve. And I think so. Just talk a little bit about Silicon Valley for you, and also in addition to that, the last question, it's a fun question I typically ask is, what is the one piece of technology that you think it doesn't exist today that you want or you wish you had it today? It can be any type of fantasy type things, like a lot of people said, I want to travel the world in 2 hours. And
Oh,
other person said, I want to take a memory dump, put it in the USB stick, and then go back to past once in a while, relive those memories and come back. And
that's a good one.
hey, I mean, to me, when I listen to all these, they all look like it's going to happen one day, and to me at least. So, yeah, share what you think is something that you wish to see.
I thought about your question. I even went to my son, Omar, the techie guy, and I said, I'm going to be interviewed with Guru, and you're in techie. What do you think? And so, he says, AR, augmented reality. And I says, but what? And so he was showing it to me. He was giving me examples. And then I said, isn't that like virtual reality? He goes, yeah, but it's a little different. And then I thought, and I says, gee, what if you can do augmented or a virtual reality in a textbook and bring it into the school and have the children experience history,
Yeah.
bring it reality or literature, Romeo and Juliet, and you're living Romeo and Juliet,
Yep.
you're living,
Yep.
1776 century in the textbooks, and you would be more engaging in the classroom, and the kids would learn more, and they would want to go to school and want to go to that class because now they're technically in it, but they're not in it, but they can experience it. And I thought, wow, I wanted to, even biology, learning for those students in biology, you bring the surgeries into real life and you're looking at it and you're there. And I think that
That's
if
going to
you,
happen. That's
that,
going to happen for sure, because basically you're talking about getting immersed into that, whatever that is. I don't know about biology though. I don't want to be there in every surgery because I don't want to faint there. Uh, uh, but yes, that's we are very close. I would say, at least 5 to 10 years away. I have a feeling it's going to happen. I think metaverse. I think the word became popular after Facebook announced, but Nvidia is doing a lot of research into it. Nvidia is going to be one of the top companies when it comes to metaverse, where they are going to provide a lot of these solutions, and some of those are going to happen, and how far we can go, and what kind of things we get to see. All that is going to be question mark at this point of time, or rather, I would say it's more like a teaser right now. So it's going to be extremely interesting. I'll tell you one thing though, in years to come, you and I talking like this via Zoom, you can you probably are sitting here without sitting here. Essentially, if I'm inviting you into my meeting, you're sitting
sure.
next to me in the conference room or wherever,
Yeah, yeah, I
without
could
being
see
here,
that.
and vice versa. And then so I'll be in LA
Mhm.
without being in LA, and
Yeah,
that's going to happen 100%. I
yeah.
guarantee you right now, people are working on it. It just a couple of years, I don't know, at least 2 3 years away, you'll see glimpses of it, if not the whole thing. And there was a time, there's something called telepresence Cisco announced. I remember sitting in a conference room in Cisco back then. This was prior to first dip of the market, right after Clinton's time. Um, I remember, man, that you feel like the, so there is conference room in Europe and there's a conference room in San Jose. The guy and you, and after a while you feel like the guy is right next to you. The
Wow.
quality of the frame was exceptional.
Yeah.
And Cisco
Wow.
wanted to release that product for consumers at home. Uh, and we ran into bad economy. I was told that they canned the whole product because they
Uh-huh.
are more in the enterprise world and they continue to do it. And then I don't know what's going on now. I never heard after that. Telepresence, that's the product name back then. And then now they have WebEx, but Zoom took over. Anyway, long story short, that VR AR thing is going to be there for sure. And so yeah, I think sometimes I I wonder, like, I wish we were born a little later. It's like yeah. So because this whole the progress hasn't been there. I don't know, I can't speak for the time behind me, but um since internet boom happened, the progress we are seeing since no phone, I was using landline in San Jose, to now all the smartphones and everything. And next 10 years, it's going to be fairly crazy.
It's going to be, well, no pressure on you, but I would love to see your students working on some kind of AR, VR project with
Absolutely.
some company and bringing it to the school system and making it happen. I think the impactful would be extremely impactful.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Yes, we are working on it. In fact, we are partnering with the company that does provide video games. We are very close to signing the contract, hopefully in by next week. If we do, they are going to bring a lot of these metaverse components to our academy through our partnerships. And we are hoping to see how that's going to transpire. And already a lot of my students are all ready to launch and they are ready to get in. And I mean, who doesn't want to get in? Trust me. I mean, I want to try it out a little bit. So let's see how it goes. But definitely, we will see that happening. In fact, that's one of the topics, one of the meetings I had today.
Very cool.
Thank you very much, Raja. I
Thank
really
you.
appreciate your time. And so we look forward to speaking to you again. So probably once you are closer to um, launching your book, or, if you have a milestone, so we can take a particular topic, for instance, special education, we can do a podcast as a deep down into it as that particular topic, so that parents and students who have to deal with it. So not only the people that have those disabilities, their siblings also have to work through these
Sure.
situations. And I do come across, I mean, quite a few of those. And sometimes when they are in elementary school and lower middle school, you can't tell the difference. Some guys who are not so-called, they call it bright students in the school system, they tend to, hey, your kid is not following, probably he needs special attention. I used to tell them, man, don't say that. That's not right, because the guy doesn't like math. Doesn't mean that he's so anyway, thanks a lot. And yeah, so we look forward to speaking to